The world was experiencing disastrous weather in 2019 as a result of global warming. The world's governments banded together to develop a remedy, the Dutch Boy weather control system. It manages to contain a potentially catastrophic hurricane over Shanghai, sends satellites around the world, and maintains global climate stability. The chief architect of Dutch Boy, Jake Lawson, is called to testify in court. Jake starting Dutch Boy without his permission particularly infuriates Senator Thomas Cross. Jake chooses to dispute with the senators rather than presenting a convincing case for his position, citing the fact that Dutch Boy has achieved success as justification. Jake's brother, Max, attempts unsuccessfully to get him to stop talking. Max informs Jake that he has been chosen to take Jake's position after the conference is adjourned and reluctantly fires his brother. A group of troops travels through Afghanistan 3 years later. A settlement that appears to have been frozen over and is encased in ice and snow is discovered by them. The peasants are discovered by the army standing motionless. Engineer Mahmoud is up on the International Space Station, gathering log information about the Afghanistan incident covertly. The windows begin to burst out as he passes through the station, pulling Mahmoud into space. When the incidences are brought to his attention, President Andrew Palmer holds a meeting of his cabinet. They conclude that there must have been a satellite malfunction above Afghanistan. Palmer suggests sending one person to the ICSS to address the issue. Since Jake knows Dutch Boy better than anybody else involved, Secretary of State, Leonard Deckham, talks to Max and advises him to get Jake to go up there. Max disagrees and believes that asking Jake wouldn't be of any use. When Max arrives at Jake's house in Florida, he meets Hannah, Jake's daughter. Jake doesn't seem too happy to see Max, but Max begs his brother to assist him in looking into the Afghanistan tragedy because he knows that many lives could be at stake. We then travel to Hong Kong, which is now experiencing a heat wave. When leaving a grocery store, Cheng Long, the chief of Dutch Boy's Hong Kong division, drops his carton of eggs. He is surprised as the eggs begin to fry outside. Before subterranean gas mains begin to break and detonate, there is an abrupt ground rumble. As more mains begin to blow, Cheng races across the city as an earthquake decimates a portion of the metropolis. As he and other residents observe what's left of the city, Cheng makes it to the center of a bridge. Even though Jake is aware that he will have to leave Hannah behind, he decides to go up to the ICSS. She bids him a sorrowful farewell before going to be with her mother. Jake arrives at the ICSS and is greeted by Fassbinder, the station's commander, as well as members of her crew, Al Hernandez, Duncan Taylor, Eni Adissa, and Ray Dussett. Together, they examine Hong Kong's satellite, but as they do, the robot arm holding it malfunctions, almost killing everyone before it collapses, destroying the satellite and erasing all of its data. A massive hailstorm physically hits Tokyo, dropping hail large enough to demolish a bus. Cheng tries to access their satellite from Hong Kong but is unable to log in, so he calls Max. Max is forewarned by Cheng that if this weather pattern persists, a geostorm will develop in which catastrophic weather will strike the whole world simultaneously. When Cheng learns that mercenaries, led by a man named Rico, are preparing to raid the location, he flees from his office. Dana, a cybersecurity hacker, is Max's next target. She discovers that Max is unable to access the satellite too, proving that someone else has infiltrated the entire system. Jake notices that a hard drive became snagged by a panel in a surveillance film of the incident that murdered Mahmoud. When he goes outside to get it, his space suit breaks, almost killing him. He reveals to Fassbinder that he has the drive after returning to the station, but he refuses to tell the other members of the team since he believes they may have set out to ruin his plans. Jake and Fassbinder are unable to access the data while attempting to go over the drive. In a video call with Max, Jake shares a memory of his father bringing them fishing. Since their father never took them fishing, Max shows Dana the video and informs her that it is an encrypted message from Jake. Max decrypts the message using their father's old phone number and discovers Jake thinks the White House is to blame. Max makes an effort to find Cheng. Cheng is pushed into a car's path by Rico, who is standing behind him. Max runs to him, and Cheng, who is in the process of dying, gets to mention Project Zeus before he passes away. Dana receives this information from him, and he informs her that Project Zeus is intended to control the weather and bring about the geostorm. The log data is located by Jake and Fassbinder in Dussett's locker, which is where Mahmoud had kept it. At first, he believes they are keeping him at gunpoint and accusing him of ruining Jake, but eventually they come to an understanding. They learn that a virus was distributed to prevent ICSS staff members from signing in. Assuming that Palma might be responsible for the breach, Jake gets in touch with Max once more. They need to reboot the system with kill codes to prevent the geostorm from occurring, and the president has those codes because they are biometric and require his fingerprint and eye scan. In order to acquire Palma, Max informs his lover, Secret Service agent Sarah Wilson, about this. Max discovers that a massive rainstorm is due to strike the area before he and Sarah leave for Orlando to attend the Democratic National Convention. Deckham drags Max into a room and threatens to shoot him when he tries to warn him and seek for his assistance, exposing himself as the real bad guy. Max is eager to inform Sarah. To distract the other Secret Service officers while she captures Palma, she concocts a distraction. Just before the storm arrives, she and Max take him in a self-driving cab. They leave the stadium quickly as it is destroyed by a large lightning strike. Sarah navigates the streets while avoiding Rico and his thugs. They maneuver under a bridge and succeed in shoving Rico into the path of the storm, when a bolt strikes his vehicle and blows him to pieces. Max, Sarah, and Palma are being attempted to be killed by an RPG by one of Deckham's thugs who is in front of them on the road. They are not in the automobile when it explodes. Deckham is kept in custody by Max and Sarah while the police arrive to take Deckham into custody. Deckham claims, just before being hauled away, that his strategy was to eliminate America's adversaries and then put the US in charge of the entire world, with him as president. The station's self-destruct sequence activates as the virus begins to entirely take over. The satellites then lose control, resulting in severe weather across the globe, including tornadoes in Mumbai, a heatwave in Moscow, and a tsunami in Dubai. People are swept up, roasted alive, or frozen in their tracks. Then, less than 90 minutes remain in the geostorm. Jake quickly discovers that Duncan is to blame for the virus's propagation. When Jake goes to beat him senseless, he finds out that he did it because he was offered more money than what he was being paid there. Prior to Jake exiting, Duncan unintentionally fires at the windows, which explode out and drag Duncan into space. Palma sends the murder codes with the help of Max and Sarah. When Jake speaks with Max, he informs him that the kill codes would only halt the geostorm and not the self-destruct sequence. Max tries to find a way to help, but Jake prepares to die. The brothers declare their affection for one another. Fassbinder stays behind to assist Jake as he quickly takes the kill codes to the main computer. Once they succeed in doing so, the geostorm is stopped, which ends the wild weather. Jake and Fassbinder find a neighboring pod as the station's structure continues to deteriorate. Everyone believes Jake is dead because the station is destroyed. Hannah begins to cry as she watches at home with her mother. Max is soon made aware of the pod's distress call via a video from a neighboring shuttle. Jake and Fassbinder are saved when Hernandez, the shuttle's pilot, pauses to grab the pod. When they are returned to Earth, Max and Hannah are both relieved. After 6 months, Jake resumes his previous position as a developer of a new Dutch boy system. Since they never learned how to fish as children, he, Max, and Hannah are shown trying it, but they feel it's too boring. Hannah's voiceover then continues, noting that while we cannot undo the past, we can only try to improve the present.